The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
First Big Podcast here, NBA over-unders with the annual NBA over-unders podcast with Degenerate, Krizmanic. Fellas, what's up?
What's going on? Just being a degenerate.
As always. Kris, what's up, buddy?
Oh, just doing, being me.
Well, last time we spoke was actually back in August, late August, where we did an NFL over-unders, and we'll obviously review that down the road, but NBA season's upon us. Weird year, of course, COVID, 2020. This year, we're going to, instead of 82 games, we're going to have 72 games of the NBA season, which starts next week. I think it's Tuesday, right? Next Tuesday, 22nd of December.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a strange year. That's not wasting any time, because I think last year when we did this podcast, we actually went 2.5 hours of this one. And not only that, even the NFL over-unders, we went 2.5 hours too in August. So we're going to try to keep this to at least 2 hours, if not less. So I know we like to, sidebar a lot of topics. I know we got a lot of things to talk about on the show today. So let's get to it first. As always, every year we go alphabetical order. So, as always, we start off with the Atlanta Hawks. Their number this year is, and remember, this is a 72-game season, so the number is 35.5, over under 35.5. In a normal season, it'll probably be about 38 to 39. So they drafted Onyeka Okongwu in sixth round with a sixth pick in the draft. Big moves this year in free agency for the Hawks. They acquired Danilo Gallinari, Rajon Rondo, Chris Dunn, and then of course Bogdanovich from the Kings. I'm going to go ahead and just be point blank. This is one of my top 5 free league pass watches of the year. I think this season. When you have the moves they made this short off season rather. In addition to what they had already, of course, Trae Young is going to be his third year, I believe, right? So, I'm fighting for this team this year. I'm going over on the Hawks. Zack?
Oh, I'll take the under, please.
Wow.
But I'd like to take my first sidebar of the night and go on record. Who called Philadelphia 76ers for last season? That would be me.
You couldn't say that for the wait. You couldn't say it for the section of the podcast, really?
No, because it's very important to this pick right here. Nobody should be swayed by the signings of Rondo or Gallinari. All right, this team will live and die with how well Hunter performs in his second season. If Hunter can move up to around 40% consistently from the three and being the defensive specialist that he is, then that's huge when you have Trae Young who can't play defense on a WNBA team. But as far as I look at this team, they're still not ready for a playoff.
Wow.
Or to be 500.
Woo.
Oh,
putting salt in the wound, buddy.
One last note. I would love to thank the Atlanta Hawks for their draft pick. The Orlando Magic normally make this kind of stupid mistake of taking some big athletic center who has no offensive skill. And this time, we got lucky. The Atlanta Hawks took him before we could.
Kris, where you at with the Hawks this year?
Well, going over would mean they have to be at least 500. I feel like they're going to be right at 500.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go over. I think I'm going to win exactly 36 games. Now, the problem with them, you would think they're going to take this large lead, but they have too much depth, and a lot of dudes are just not going to. They're going to stunt the growth of all their young players by having so many guys on the team. I like how their team is organized. I mean, it's pretty much like Trae Young with 2 pick-and-roll bigs and a ton of 3-and-D guys, with Bogdanovich being a second ball handler. And Gallinari is kind of like a second playmaker, but I think he's going to come off the bench. But I just feel like I like the veteran leadership that Rajon Rondo is going to bring to the team as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And like Tony Snell's a great 3-and-D guy. Like a bunch of they have a lot of shooters on the team. Granted, Cam Reddish learns how to shoot, and DeAndre Hunter goes back to form, but with Tony Snell and Herter and Gallinari, but they have a lot of 3-point shooters. And they have two athletic bigs like John Collins and Clint Capella that can get to the basket and defend. So I think they put it together enough to go 500.
Are they a playoff team? I mean, Eastern Conference, 8 seed.
I think 500 easily in the playoffs in the East. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they're probably going to be an 8 seed or a 7 seed in the East. I mean, the East is deeper this year than it has been in many years, but it's still really 5 or 6 teams that you're looking at as guaranteed playoff teams in the East, which leaves 2 spots open. Hawks are probably one of those 2 teams. I mean, that's the way I'm seeing it.
Well, if you're expecting, say, 32, 33 wins, some team to sneak in with the 8 seed to be under 500, then yeah, Atlanta's got a shot. But I mean, you literally just heard Kris run off their top 7 guys, and after that, they have nothing. They literally have nothing after their top 7.
The top 6 pick is their 3rd big, or almost 4th big on the team. And he's talented enough. He's hurt, so they're going to give him time to heal his foot. But they have.
He fouls. All he is fouls. He has no offensive game. Cam Reddish can't shoot. All right.
Would you knock him last year too? This time we did this podcast last year, knocking Cam Reddish also.
Yeah,
he knocked him because
he didn't do shit. So
Zack proved right twice.
I'm pretty sure them picking up 2 wings in free agency was them punting on Cam Reddish already. But dudes can turn their careers around. I'm not going to punt on him yet, but he's not looking good.
All right, let's go to the Boston Celtics now. The Boston Celtics, of course, made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Their over number this year is 45.5. In a normal year, they'll be about 49, maybe even 50. I'll keep it simple here. I'm gonna take the over in this one. They acquired Tristan Thompson, Jeff Teague. Of course, lost Gordon Hayward to free agency, but of course, if you're a Celtics fan, I'm sure you didn't care about that. And also, they traded away Enes Kanter. I think Boston becomes, with all the noise of Brooklyn and expectations of Brooklyn, Miami's obviously in the mix, won the conference finals last year. Finals round last year, and all the top tier Eastern Conference teams right now, Milwaukee, all that. I feel like Boston now in the spot is a bit underrated, and I think I think at least during the regular season they're going to be a really, really good team, probably even as high as a 2 seed. So I'm gonna go over on their number. Zach,
I would take the over too. I mean, for me, they're going to be one of the top 2 to 3 best teams coming out of the East. And when you look at their roster, their starting 5, it's a legit starting 5 for any playoff team. And I actually think the signing of Tristan Thompson might help Kemba Walker in a pick-and-roll game.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Tristan Thompson has proven to be a goal on the pick and roll, and he picks up 10 to 12 rebounds a game when they matter, and he's getting the minutes.
All right, Kris?
So Boston has pretty much just went all in on small ball. They are all in. They have probably 2 fantastic athletic small ball 5s with Tristan Thompson and Daniel Theis. If they have to go large, they literally have the largest guy in the league with Taco Fall, and then Robert Williams is a big. So they do have guys to counter if a team can present that big issue, but you got to think Gordon Hayward's addition by subtraction. They got some young guards. Jeff Teague is a great 6th man.
I like that pickup actually.
It's a great pickup. Just in case Kemba gets hurt, because he usually gets nicked up here and there, and you don't want to wear out Marcus Smart too much. If Romeo Langford, I think he's the wild card. If he can take the next step and really become a microwave off the bench, then they're elite in the East.
I also think this is the year.
But
Oh, go ahead.
if he doesn't, and like Peyton Pritchard's not that guy either, then I think they're too like guard heavy, and their wings like Jason Tatum put on some weight, which is great because he's gonna make like him
Right.
or Brown will be like the small ball 3 and 4s. If one of those guys go down, that team goes down. Like they have no way. Like I know, like Langford's more of like a 2, but like Ojale is all defense, and no one else on the team could actually like. Granted, like Kemba could step up the scoring, but I feel like they're one injury away from like being a super mediocre team. I'm gonna go under on them just barely, but I don't see them being like that super top tier East team that a lot of people think they're going to be.
Right. I do think in the playoffs that could be exposed. I kind of see what you're saying there. I think they'll pile up wins during the year is why I think they'll be a 2 or 3 seed in the Eastern Conference when it's all said and done. But in the playoffs is when you get the pushback. I also think, though, you look at the roster, especially you talk about the Celtics now and talk about the future. Obviously, Jason Tatum is, everything goes around him. I don't know where you guys are on Tatum yet. If he's not a top 10 guy right now, I think certainly this will be the year when we start considering him as a top 10 guy. Where are you guys on Tatum right now overall?
Well, I'll put it this way. If Tatum can consistently hit 37 to 38% from three-point range and he's taking 5 threes a game, then you can't even have an argument about him being a top 10 player. And I feel like Boston Celtics are almost banking on that because the one knock you can really make against the Celtics is their lack of shooting. Marcus Smart can't even throw a freaking football into the ocean.
Although, yeah, he had moments in the playoffs, though. We'll say he had a lot of moments in the playoffs.
He's just streaky.
Yeah, he is.
I wouldn't say he's a bad shooter. He's just super streaky.
He's terrible. Now Kemba can be streaky, but he's not a good shooter.
Kemba can go like nuclear if he wants to.
If he's on a hot streak, but when you think of good shooters in the guard position, he doesn't come to mind when you start listing them off. So
yeah, but Pritchard's a good shooter. They just drafted. Carson Edwards is a good shooter. Romeo Langford's a good shooter. They just don't have guys that can create outside of like pretty much him, Kemba, and Jaylen Brown.
Those guys can't create, and they're not going to get that many minutes. So they're going to be a team like Milwaukee, I think, where they're super athletic and they'll pile on the wins all season, especially against bad teams. But they're more of an inside of 20 feet type of scoring team. And I think that's detrimental in the playoffs.
No, but that is true because in the regular season they're going to be since they're so small, they're going to be fast, man. They're going to get a lot faster points, but I just feel like they're going to now. If Jason Tatum really put on the amount of weight, he like really bulked up like they say he did. I mean, he looks it, but like if he can hold up, like man. I mean, he's a growing kid. He's young, so.
I mean, he had moments in that conference finals in Miami where he scared the shit out of me. He was definitely, carrying the team.
He's running the cusp of being like a superstar.
I was telling Zack back in October and September that we talk about Giannis, and obviously I love Giannis, but this guy Tatum, if he comes all together at some point in the next couple of years, he's a better version of he could be better than Giannis just because of the shooting alone.
No way, dude. Yeah. Giannis physically is a whole other monster.
Oh no, I agree.
There's no one in the league that can take 2 steps from the 3-point line and dunk the ball like Giannis can. Like that's just fucking freaky.
Yeah, it's true. All right, next team here. Of course, probably the most exciting team to look out for this year. That is the Brooklyn Nets, of course. This is actually Kevin Durant's second year. We didn't play last year due to his injury. So it is a return of Kevin Durant. The Brooklyn Nets over under number right now is 45. In a normal year, that'll be about 50. So what I see here with this number is there's a lot of apprehension about the Nets. Obviously, Kyrie Irving, a bit of a great talent, but a bit of a head case, in my opinion. We'll see how that goes. The one notable acquisition this year for the Nets is Jeff Green, which I think is a solid move for Jeff Green, another guy who's pretty streaky as a scorer. I think 45 is just it. I'm going to push here. I think that's just a number. I think there'll be some growing pains here and there, and I think depending on where they're at by March, April, are they playing better by the time we enter the playoffs? They can be dangerous, obviously, if Durant and Kyrie, get all together. But I think 45 is a number. I'll push here. Zach.
So there's one caveat, but I love the over no matter what. Here's the caveat. I think if Kyrie Irving gets injured and is out for the season, the Nets might end up with the best record in the Eastern Conference.
Without Kyrie?
This guy.
Without Kyrie. With Kyrie, I think they win 48, 49 games. This team, they are 2 rounds of rotation. They can go starting 5 and a backup 5. This is what you call depth. If there's any team with depth, it's got to be Brooklyn Nets going into the season.
Right.
See, I'm going the other way, as in I think it's over as well. I'm kind of big on him. I think the only weak link is Steve Nash, the head coach. Like, that's – I don't want to say he's undeserving, but, man, I enjoy teams that don't just get, like, stupid, sorry retreads I coach. But I don't know if he's the right guy to be the glue to hold together these, like, Kevin Durant sitting there, like, using burner accounts to, like, at people on Twitter. Kyrie Irving's just nuts. Like, but their team is so stacked when you can go, like, just so deep with playmakers. Like, Kyrie Irving can create a shot. Spencer Dinwiddie can create a shot. Karis LeVert can create a shot. Kevin Durant, obviously, is top 3 in the league when he's healthy. So it's just, I mean, they're calling Karis LeVert the next Manu. He can come off the bench and perform like that, which I think it's more than plausible. But I think a low-key signing was like getting Landry Shamet, like a solid 3-and-D guy, take the pressure off those guys to play defense. And you got big like Jared Allen. You have DeAndre Jordan as like the veteran leadership. Jeff Green's a vet. Joe Harris got paid, so he's probably going to play better.
Right.
Tyler Johnson is even a creator off the bench. Their team is deep.
Is he still there?
I
think he's gone. I think Tyler Johnson is gone now.
No, Tyler Johnson's there.
I thought he was gone. Hold on.
He's 11, 12 on the bench.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
According to the
that's how deep Brooklyn goes.
Yeah, according to this here, he's gone. Unless they re-signed him.
I'm seeing him on the depth chart.
Okay, then maybe re-sign him. But it says players reportedly lost: Tyler Johnson, Dante Hall, Michael Beasley.
But their team is deep. They have shooters. They have everything at every level. So I don't know how you can't. Like I said, he can get out coached, man. Like, coaching is a big step in this league, and you can see how overwhelmed a guy like Brad Stevens was with all those personalities in Boston. Like, if he, one of the better coaches in the league, can get overwhelmed, Steve Nash has never done it, can easily get overwhelmed. So,
especially Kyrie being one of the guys you got to deal with. I will say, we have nothing to go on when it comes to Steve Nash.
I have one. I got to ask a question, guys.
Go ahead.
I got to ask this question. Steve Kerr, it was his first coaching job. How'd he do?
Yeah.
How'd Tyronn Lue do in his first coaching job?
I'm kind of with Zack on this one.
Steve Nash is an unbelievable point guard who was unselfish. He's going to design plays that put the players in the best position. And he's not going to be about an ego. He's never been about an ego. Like, that's the kind of coach you want when you have 2 stars.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Steve Nash's personality, based on what we know, we can't really run on a coaching. We don't know how good a coach he is. We've never seen him do it before. But based on his personality and stuff, I think I can see the fit, actually. I mean, Kyrie might be weird, but Kyrie's weird no matter who's coaching him. You know what I mean? So,
but here it is. So who is Steve Nash flourishing with? Mike D'Antoni. He's on the coaching staff.
Right.
Who else? Amari Stoudemire. He's on the coaching staff. What is the team going to look like? Like the D'Antoni Suns. Is that like the winning secret in the league? Like in the regular season, yes. That's why I have them going over. But I don't know if that's like. Like, I'm pretty sure Mike D'Antoni is the one calling the shots there.
Kris, just 2 minutes ago, you pointed out the 3-and-D guys that they brought in during free agency. You got Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan.
Well, you still need schemes. You got a bunch of defensive players. If there's no schemes, then that's a whole different story.
Right.
That's why Atlanta's bad at defense, because they have no team defense.
All right.
Houston had great defense with D'Antoni for 2 seasons until they got rid of anyone over 6'6".
Right.
I have them as the number 2 team in the East, so they're going to be just fine.
Right. All right, let's go to the next team here. The Charlotte Hornets over-under number for this season is 26.5. In a normal year, of course, they'll be around 30. They drafted LaMelo Ball with the 3rd pick. Notable free agency pickups, Gordon Hayward from the Celtics, Bismack Biyombo also. I know Zack is very happy that contract has gone in Orlando. But, like I said, the East is better this year. And if the East is better on top this year, somebody has to be on the bottom. And I think the Hornets will still they'll be competitive, but I still see them going under 26.5. Zack, what you got?
This is one of those teams where when you look at the starting 5, it's not a bad starting 5. But that's all they have. Michael Jordan did it again. The man who has no ability to draft anyone in the first round made the worst draft pick in the NBA this season.
LaMelo Ball?
All right. LaMelo Ball can't shoot. You took him for his offensive skill, and he has no shooting ability. He has a jack shot because he's part of the Ball family. None of them learned how to shoot with any proper forms. But the guy just can't shoot. So you wasted that draft pick. And you have no other depth because no one wants to come to Charlotte when they look at how bad. So I can look at the starting 5 and go, man, they should be all right. They should be competitive. But then I look at everyone else who's going to step on the court behind them, and it's straight garbage. And you have to go under.
Kris?
I think this team's going to surprise some people because they have a lot of guys that can, just come out of nowhere and score points, on any given day. Like, Malik Monk can get hot. Terry Rozier can get hot. Devontae Graham can get hot. Gordon Hayward has his moments. I don't hate the LaMelo Ball pick. It's just strange because there's so much guard depth there that I don't know where he fits in. But to see him get 10 rebounds in his first preseason game and to be able to impact the game the way he did and get the ball and rebounds and push it up tempo and make plays and get assists and impact the game without scoring, it's huge. I think they went for best player available, and in the NBA, you have to do it.
He was the best player available.
You have to go for the home run, Zack. In worst case, he's Ben Simmons. Is that a terrible pick?
He's not even Ben Simmons. He's not even Ben Simmons, though. He's not a skilled passer. Did you see the turnover?
Oh, come on. You can't say that.
He's too small. All you have to do is put a 6'3" point guard on him, and they're going to be able to bully him for his first 3 to 4 years. He has no shooting ability, and he's just wild with his passes because he's trying to show off. This was a terrible pick. Michael Jordan
I just feel like
did it again.
With Malik Monk and Terry Rozier and Devontae, now obviously I feel like their season to start off right and they moved Terry Rozier. So I think his contract is movable enough for someone who wants essentially a better Schrader to come off the bench and really turn it up and be a great player. He'd make an awesome 6-man borderline starter. And he's if you see how horrible some of the contracts are, like the Gordon Hayward one, His contract's not that bad.
That one's not
So
a
he can be
bad
moved.
contract.
So, oh my God, Gordon Hayward's a terrible. He just broke his pinky already.
Who,
Like,
Gordon
first
Hayward, yeah.
game.
Well,
Like,
the only
come
reason they made that
on.
money because they had to. They got to spend the floor. They got to spend the
Yeah,
money.
but
I get that.
I mean, they tried to sign him before he went to Boston, so he was like known that he was going to go there.
They
But
weren't going to get anybody anyways. It doesn't matter really. Okay.
I know, but like I said, I think they'll surprise some teams. Like they'll be able to heat up and they'll beat some teams. So I'm going under barely.
Okay.
Barely under.
I'm gonna do this here. The next two teams are not really noteworthy as much, so I'm gonna combine them real quick. You got the Bulls and the Cavaliers. Okay.
Okay, Cavs is trash. Like,
Okay.
we shouldn't even talk about it.
So
Yeah.
real quick, the Bulls over under is 30 wins. A normal year would be about 34, 35. I took the under in that one. On the Cavaliers, their over-run number is 22. I went under as well. Normal year it'll be 26, maybe 25. So both unders on the Bulls and the Cavaliers. What say you?
I think me and Kris are in agreement that you're about to see one of the best young point guards in the league blow up on the scene this year in Kobe White. White was phenomenal last year, and he's about to take center stage. And if he really does that, with what I believe, I'm going to take Chicago again for the third year in a row, hoping, buying all the hope. They are going to win more games than they're supposed to and finally make the playoffs.
Okay.
Cleveland,
Maybe no. I can see that though. I can see that they play hard. I mean,
I will take the under on Cleveland all day though.
Cleveland's under. Like, that's a lock.
Yeah.
Cleveland under.
and the Bulls.
So the Bulls are the number one league pass team this year.
Whoa.
Far and
Okay.
away.
Oh, yeah.
Number one league pass team. Super exciting. They're going to be great.
Alley-oops to Levine. Unreal.
Billy Donovan
How
is
about
going to
Williams?
take this team to new heights. But
Williams coming out of
they're
Florida
still going to
State,
suck,
another guy.
and I have them under. Barely.
Okay.
But they are going to be one of the most fun teams in the league. If they can put it together and, like, Billy Donovan can get the most out of Wendell Carter Jr. and he stays healthy, and, like, Lauri Markkanen turns into this, like,
got him. Yeah.
unicorn type stretch four, and Otto Porter Jr. can actually do something, and Patrick Williams wasn't a wasted draft pick. Even so, like, a guy like Thaddeus Young, if he could teach those wings how to play good, and, like, Satoransky's not horrible, like, they have a very fun, like, unselfish team that if they move the ball, because all their dudes are, like, more unselfish than anything else. So they're able to move the ball and Billy Donovan get them in the right positions. I just feel like they're just a team with no identity and they're going to play fast.
Right.
And they're going to score a lot of points and be a fun team to watch, but I just don't see them, like, cohesing this first year to actually win games.
Right.
But I don't go under. But they're going to be very fun to watch.
Okay, next one here. I'm excited about this one, this team. The Dallas Mavericks, over under 41.5. I just realized right now they traded for Josh Richardson from the Sixers.
Yeah.
Not bad. They did lose Seth Curry, who had a decent year last year with them, and he'll be good in Philadelphia. And of course, this is the year of Luka. A lot of people think he'll be MVP this year. I think he's number 2 on the MVP odds list behind Giannis. I think it's 8-1 or something like that. I think I saw on Luka Doncic. Anyway, over, like I said, 4.5 for the Mavericks. They've been one of the most excited teams to watch last year, and will be the same this year. Luka, already a top 10 player in the league. I'm going over. I think they'll be a top 4 team in the East, in the West rather. We'll see where that lies, but they're definitely one of the major splashes this year coming up. Zach.
Listen, I really felt going into this season for Dallas, the most important player on this team wasn't Luka. It was Porzingis, because he was that meteor. He was that unicorn in New York until he blew out his knee. He had his first year back. You see, he probably played a little tentative, and so you were hoping he would. If he could be a star, then Dallas would be a formidable opponent. Now, I will still take the over barely because of my faith in Donich, but with with Porzingis missing the start of the season, it's gonna be a huge hit.
Go ahead, Kris.
I hate him. I'm under. I don't like the makeup of the team, like, at all. It looks like this team reminds me of the old AI 76ers, where they literally just built around one dude. And that's it. Like, every player is like a support player that just can't create for himself. But they'll build a solid supporting cast for him. But I just don't see how they're going to take the next step in, like, a loaded Western Conference. I just don't see it. Like, Porzingis, awesome. That, like, 3-5 pick and roll where he can either pop or roll is, like, undefendable. It's so good. But besides that, like, Josh Richardson, who knows what he's going to be at this point in his career? Like, who knows? Maybe he's in a different role this year, and he actually plays a lot better. Dwight Powell, just a support guy. Like, all these guys, like, Ballbon's obviously like a 10-minute guy, like, freak show. Courtney Lee, Maxi Kleber. Like, all these guys are, like, good in their role, and they know their roles. But, like, I don't like Tim Hardaway being, like, third option. Like, to me, like, Tim Hardaway Jr. is not going to be my third option on my team.
Yeah, I know they traded for Josh Richardson, like I just mentioned, but I feel like that Seth Curry loss might hurt a little bit.
It's gonna be a bigger hit than most people think.
Yeah.
This isn't the year they put it together. I think that the West is just too deep. And I think even if you just stagnate in the West, you're taking a step back.
Right.
I
Makes
just
sense.
have to interrupt real quick. I can promise you, Kris, AI would have killed to have a guy as skilled as Porzingis on his team. If he had a guy like Porzingis going against LA in the finals, he might have actually won those finals.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a legit he's a legit superstar. Not superstar, but, like, on the cusp type of dude that
Robin.
you can build a team around. But I don't know. Like, I think honestly, I think Luka's usage is going to be too high. He's going to get beat up because dudes just went at him last year and they beat the shit out of him. I think nothing's going to change. And I think they're going to do the same thing. They're going to rough him up and he's going to get hurt. Like, realistically.
Right. Okay. All right. Next one here. The Denver Nuggets last year make it to the conference finals, losing to the Lakers in 5. Their over-run number is 43.5. Of course, that would be about 47, maybe even 48 on a normal year. Really, only notable transaction, they lost Jeremy Grant to the Pistons in free agency. Otherwise, a very solid team. Very solid team. Jamal Murray, obviously Jokic. I mean, can they crack that ceiling? Can they crack it? I mean, obviously the conference finals is their ceiling. Can they somehow, some way crack through the Lakers? I mean, they beat the Clippers last year in the second round, albeit being down 3-1. But is this team good enough now to crack it? Beat LeBron and AD? I'm going to go over in the meantime.
I'll take the over.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say they're good enough. If Michael Porter Jr. stays on the trajectory he was on and with what he did in the playoffs, then yes, they finally have enough skilled big men to take on the Lakers. If you can throw Porter Jr., if he adds a little weight with Jokic against AD and just throw man after man up against LeBron, then your competition is who's going against Murray, and I'll take Murray against anyone else on the Lakers. So I love this team, and I think they have a legit shot this season to go to the finals.
Kris?
Love them. Over. They're awesome. Murray went from like all-star to pretty much superstar status in the playoffs last year. Dude, that series between him and Donovan Mitchell was insane.
Yeah, it was sick.
The guys they lost, they replaced them. JaMychal Green, easily just as good as Jeremy Grant. PJ Dozier, great pickup. Bol could be a huge hit if he even semi-develops. You still have your solid guys. You know what you have. Will Barton, Gary Harris, Monty Morris. They're going to bring it. They're going to always perform solid. They're never going to lose a game for you. Paul Millsap, same way, solid. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all on Michael Porter Jr. to take that next step. Because all those guys have had their time to show if they're good enough, and none of them have. But Michael Porter Jr. is the one dude that was number one player in his high school class, talented. He had the LeBron, like 6'10", super athletic, like can handle the ball frame. And at this point, like last year when he was, playing the three, he was just dominating dudes in the paint. Like if he could take that next step, and I love the draft. What do? They drafted R.J. Hampton, who's a guy who went to Australia, and he's like a wild card. You don't know. They're trying to hit home runs. What they did with Michael Porter Jr. the year before, they're just trying to hit home runs. I love what they're doing in Denver. Over.
All right, next one here. Detroit Pistons, over-under 24 wins. Normal year will be about 28, maybe 29. I am going to go over. I don't know why. I just feel like I have a funny feeling this team is going to at least perform night to night, be competitive. But they're not a playoff team.
Holy cow. You're going to go over?
Yeah.
Dwayne Casey is a good coach.
I don't think
Dwayne
this
Casey
team
is.
wins 20 games. I, honest to God, do not believe this team wins 20 games. So, if there's one thing I think is consistent in all of sports, it is how bad Detroit is at sports. And right now, this team is atrocious. I will pay both of you if Detroit wins more than 20 games. That's how bad they are. So you have Michael Jordan, who cannot draft a first-round draft pick, and you have Detroit sports. Two consistencies in all of sports. Take the under.
Kris?
I think just because their team's just not – I mean, like, Dwayne Casey's a good coach. He's going to get them to perform. But I feel like their rosters is going to explode, like, by the midway point. I feel like this is going to start showcasing their due. Yeah, but Derrick Rose is easily a tradable asset, a huge asset. Anybody would want him on their team, especially the way he came back and played last year. So I think they're going to start showcasing those guys. And I think they're going to try to showcase Blake Griffin to try to move him. I mean, it's not going to be easy with that contract, but I feel like if a team thinks they're a piece away or just some devastating injury and they need somebody, like, I feel like Blake Griffin's the guy they're going to try and move. And then there's just enough teams. If he comes back and looks fantastic, you just never know. But I feel like because they make those moves, their team's going to be terrible. Like, who knows what Killian Hayes is? He seems like one of them soft Euro guys. Like, I don't know. He might be good, but their team's, they have a lot of overlapping players in the team. Like, why sign Jeremy Grant as your, like, power forward when you have Blake Griffin there as your highest paid player? Like, their team made a lot of head-scratching moves, but we'll see.
3 years of his deal?
I feel like their team just built to make moves this year, and they're just building towards something bigger than that. So that's why I'm going to go under on them.
Yeah, their job this year, really more than anything else, is to showcase Blake Griffin for other contenders. To say that he's still pretty good.
And him and Derrick Rose, I'm telling you, Derrick Rose, huge trade asset.
Yeah.
I
think right now they're in the middle of the
nailed
contract.
their season.
Yeah, I think
Kris
right now
nailed the season.
This is year 3 of Blake Griffin's contract, right? Year 3, year 4? Year 3, I think. I think it's year 3. Anyway, next team here, Golden State Warriors. This is depressing because I was looking forward to seeing them full strength again with Klay Thompson and, of course, Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Unfortunately, Klay Thompson hurt his Achilles out for the year again. But anyway, the Warriors' overall number is 39 wins. In a normal year, it'd probably be about 43, 44. They drafted James Wiseman, second overall pick in the draft. Traded for Kelly Oubre. I still think they're a solid team, and you got Andrew Wiggins still, right? Still there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think this team's going to be one of, even without Klay Thompson, will still be a competitive team. I think they may surprise folks, I guess, because of the expectations of not having Klay. They're definitely a playoff team still. I think they'll probably be between 4 and 6 in the West. So I'm going to go over on 39 wins for the Warriors.
Yeah, this breaks my heart to say, but I have to take the under. And I'm one of those guys who could probably argue right now that Steph Curry is a top 10 player in NBA history. But I look at this team, and this team just cannot win enough games to even sniff the playoffs. If they get 35
Wow, that bad?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Andrew Wiggins, he can't create for anyone, so he's playing off ball. Now, will he be able to play off ball because Steph has to have the ball?
In that system, absolutely.
And then when you look at the rest, Oubre, Green, they have no offensive game plan, really. So, I mean, it's just a weak setup. Steph might actually lead the league this year in assists. Like, he could have 11, 12 assists a game because everyone else on that roster needs someone to create for them.
I love him. If you're telling me they have to be 3 games over 500 or 4 games over 500 to cover this, I'm gonna go over. Like, they have so much wing depth. Like, obviously losing Klay is huge, but to get Kelly Oubre to just fill right in for him is gargantuan. Because now you don't have to, like, you still have that 1, 2, 3, which is what they're aiming for. Steph at the 1, Kelly Oubre at the 2, Andrew Wiggins at 3. With Draymond at the 5. Now, they don't have, like, big depth by any means, so I think like the Lakers probably smash them. But outside of that, like, they invented the small ball pretty much. Like, they can survive with, like, Kevon Looney and, like, Draymond Green, like, Eric Pascal being, like, their biggest dudes on their team. Like, they're going to be just fine. They get back Kent Bazemore, who at one point was the original cheerleader on the team, went, developed, now is back. Damian Lee was a solid draft pick. Marquise Kris, don't people forget he was a lottery pick. Like, he looks like a great, like, athletic player. And James Wiseman, people are like, how do you not think James Wiseman is going to be an impact player? Granted, he might get into foul trouble some games. He's going to be an impact player on that team.
That's the thing.
I love the
like,
team.
I'm not grading this Warriors team as a championship contender. Like, they're not the Lakers or the Nuggets or the Bucks. But we're talking about a playoff team. Yeah, well, Steph Curry, and also healthy. I mean, they're at least ceiling at least a 4 seed in the West. If everything.
4 games over 500. Come on.
And I think also this might put Steph Curry in the quiet MVP race if they somehow overachieve.
None of that's going to happen. Kris, you want to talk about Kelly Oubre can kind of replace Klay Thompson? Dude shoots 35% last year for his best year ever from three-point range. They don't have three-point shooters besides Steph. Now, Wiseman, yeah, he's going to be a great big man in this league, but he can't create on his own. He's going to need Steph to create for him.
No, but Kelly Oubre can create. Andrew Wiggins can create enough.
No, neither one of those guys can shoot.
You know how far out these guys come out to defend Steph? So when they come out that far, when they jump a pick and roll, those guys, all they do is beat one guy, and they're already driving to the rim. They're slashing to the rim. Like, and all they can do is dish it if someone comes and rotates. It's not going to be hard. Like, Steve Kerr's system simplifies the game.
I'm trying to save both you guys. It's like how you were last year with 76ers is the way you are this year with Golden State. No. You guys are...
They had to do 4 games over 500
last year, but I trust the Warriors
too. 4 games over 500. That can happen.
Yeah, and I say 35 is their ceiling.
Alrighty. Okay. Next team here, and this is something to look at, obviously, this offseason. The Houston Rockets. Their over-under number right now is 41.5. Normal year would be about 45. Obviously, the saga James Harden, trade rumors abound. We got rumors tonight. I was joking with you guys before the podcast started about saying that would be nice if they make a trade before we go on air. So we have that to bite on, but that didn't happen, of course. I went under in this one solely because of the reason why I don't know what's going to happen with James Harden. Everything is based around him. I mean, they traded Russell Westbrook for John Wall, which whatever. They also acquired Christian Wood from the Pistons, Marcus Cousins,
Aaron Gordon
they
still there.
They lost a lot of guys though. They lost a lot of guys. But I don't know. If James Harden stays and he's motivated to play, they're still a really good team. If he doesn't stay, then obviously they're going to be mediocre or worse. So, the odds are he probably will be traded at some point this year. Given the environment. So I'm going to go under. Zach.
I will actually take the over in this because I do not believe the Furtado brothers, the owners of the Rockets, will allow for James Harden to be traded. With just the moves of bringing in Wood and Wall, they've increased their shooting ability. So you have to like a guy like James Harden who wants to have the ball in his hands at all times, being able to kick it out, especially to a guy like Wood who's a big and can step out and shoot a three. That's what this league is, when you can open up the floor. So if you're like me and you believe the ownership will not allow a trade of Harden, then you have to take the over. Harden is too much of a gamer. He doesn't believe in taking nights off. He's not a LeBron James. He wants to play and he wants to have the ball at all times. So
have you seen how out of shape he is right now?
Yeah, that's so bad.
I don't care.
He'll play in the shape. It's like Embiid. He'll play himself into shape at some point.
I'm going so super under on this.
Okay, it's too much. By the way, too much strip club wings for the record. By why it's so big.
Super under. They just announced that they opened up the trade inquiries outside of just Brooklyn and Philly. Like it was just them. They're saying they're getting enough people to they'll just trade him anywhere at this point. And
I know Miami's a wild card too in that, but Miami's not trying to get rid of the players.
I just feel like whatever they get back, I'm sure they're going to get a great haul, whether it's Ben Simmons or whatever. They're going to get a great haul back. So
I'm pretty sure
their team is
after Harden.
Their team used to be the past couple of years. Their team was based on James Harden. Their team's actually more functional now, getting a big Boogie and John Wall's more traditional point guard than Westbrook and stuff like that. But their team is just once they lose James Harden, that team's just going to fall apart.
Yeah, can we talk about that real quick? The whole John Wall trade and Westbrook. What your thoughts on that? Because I
like it. I just feel like both guys are never going to win where they were at, so you might as well switch it up. Washington had their years with Wall and Beal, could never work out, and I feel like Westbrook just he's never going to work in Houston. Granted, if you feel like you're going to move Harden, then maybe you keep Westbrook. But I think at that point they want to stick together. So when you make that move, I don't know what they're trying. I don't know what the master plan was behind that. But you figure, hey, we'll just try anything at this point, just to switch it up and make things happen. But it doesn't seem like James Harden wants to get on that boat. I don't know why, but So I just feel like the team chemistry is going to be so thrown by the time whatever hole they get back. The season's going to be shorter. I just see this as under. The West is too good.
all right.
I think we're all taking the under, assuming James Harden leaves, except for Zack, who thinks he's
right. Well, like I said,
if Harden leaves, I take the under. But I expect Harden to be a competitor once the season starts.
If there was no rumors about James Harden, serious trade rumors about James Harden, I would have taken the over. But because of the nature of the situation, save yourself, take the on the under. Anyway, the Indiana Pacers over under 39.5. Normal year would be about 43. A lot of rumors, throughout the offseason about Rick Oladipo Ultimately, he is still there in Indiana. I am taking the under because I believe, as solid teams they are, I think they can compete with the top 5 or 6 in the Eastern Conference. So,
Oh, please give me the over.
oh God,
Yes. You know who the second best big man, or correction, you know who the third best big man in the Eastern Conference is?
Miles Turner.
The bonus.
That's a bonus.
The bonus.
Oh,
Yes. So you put him with Oladipo and everything else they have around them on this team. Oh, you have to love the Pacers. I don't get how you're against them.
no, I'm not against them. I just think the East got better. That's all. I think
Do you
there's no
believe
playoff team.
like
There's no
T.J.
playoff team.
Warren?
There's no playoff
Do you think
team.
T.J. Warren, as good as he was in the bubble, like you think that's a real thing?
He doesn't have to
Because
be a real.
T.J. Warren was out
if-
of his mind in the bubble.
Oladipo can go back to being the all-star he was, then you know what? Warren doesn't.
I don't know,
have to be
man. I think I feel like he has that super disgruntled vibe now. I think the players don't like him because he got all Hollywood on him and wanted to leave. I think he did, man. That was UCLA Victor Oladipo coming out, wanting to leave and go somewhere else. I don't like it, man.
And it's just simple. They're not as good as the Heat, the Bucks, the Nets, the Celtics. Who else? Probably even the Raptors, for that matter. That's 5 teams right there. Are they a playoff team? I mean, absolutely, but that's it.
He is. I'm sorry. He went to IU. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how he wants to leave home when he came to IU. I mean, he went to IU and like he went to Hollywood on him. Like, I don't like that. Like, I don't like the vibe now.
He wants to just get paid.
Bro, he wants fucking Masked Singer, bro. Are you kidding me?
Is known for not
Masked Singer.
He wants a Masked Singer, bro. You don't think he wants to be Hollywood?
Of course he does.
He's itching to be on Space Jam too. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, I just don't. I feel like they're one of those teams. Like, they went super stagnant. Like, maybe they're hoping that T.J. Warren's explosion is going to accelerate his career, and now he's taking his next step. But the team stagnated. I don't like Dudley Durwood's not going to get any better. Like the Holiday brothers are good. Like Jeremy Lamb, I guess at this point he's like the next Rudy Gay type, or just some games he's going to play really good, some games he's going to disappear.
How many guys are you going to say is good? How many guys are you going to keep telling me are good, and then say, "Oh, they can't win. Oh, they can't win."
No, they're not going to be able to put it together, man. No, this team is just
all right. Next team here, the LA Clippers. Over number is 47 wins. That'll be about low 50s in a normal year. Notable transactions, they signed Serge Ibaka, Nick Batum as well, and Reggie Jackson. Lost Montrezl Harrell, though, and went to the Lakers. Gotta be honest with you, with all the Laker talk, and deservedly so because they're champs and all that, the Clippers kind of become all of a sudden underrated. This is actually they actually had a pretty good free agency, all considering. I mean, Serge Ibaka is a nice pickup. If Nick Batum can stay healthy, I mean, you get Kawhi coming back, hopefully healthy. Paul George hopefully rejuvenated after all the off-season talk and all that. I don't know, the Clippers new coach too. I mean, I feel like the Clippers got a little bit of a reset here, and I think they committed to Paul George and the new contract, all that. I'm not saying they beat the Lakers, but they're kind of under the radar now for the first time in quite a while because the Lakers winning the title. It's kind of where you want to be anyway, don't you? I mean, I don't know. Zach, what do you think?
Well, I noticed you leave out mentioning the one white guy in free agency. That's probably their key acquisition. Luke Kennard.
Who's that?
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, Luke Kennard.
You just call him Whitey so that you know there's a white guy there.
Luke Kennard. No, that's a big pickup, man.
God.
Another Duke bust.
He's literally their true key free agency pickup. But you have to like this team. You have to believe with a new coach there that all the time management bullshit is out the window, and Kawhi Leonard might actually have to play a full season. Paul George might have to play a full season, or at least that's my hope. My hope is this team is forced to actually play their stars and not wait till the playoffs. And if they have to play their stars, then I'll take over 47.5 or 48.
By the way, wait, real quick. I didn't mention anything on that. I did go over on that as well. So, all right, go ahead, Kris.
This all comes down to: are we getting Pandemic P, who can't hit a fucking shot, or are we getting the real Paul George? So if he's that dude that still has lost his swagger and can't get his shit together, which was just a couple months ago, like, the team's in a crater.
I haven't seen the real Paul George in 5 years.
No, he's been really good.
Like,
I mean,
you lose Montrezl Harrell and you get Serge Ibaka. Overall, player-wise, even swap. Serge is great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they needed that bully. I think they needed that goon down low. You're missing that now. I think the team got so much softer because of that. Like, that team was like Pat Bev and Paul George and Kawhi and Montrez, all these like shut down like defensive guys. I think now they kind of got softer. Like Nicholas Batum, you get like the little soft French dude. You get Serge, who used to be like.
What about Zubac?
Yeah, Zubac's a traditional big, but he's not like.
He's gonna knock everybody down. So
I don't know, man. I feel like they lost a piece of their identity, losing a guy like him.
Yeah, it's possible, but is it also possible that maybe a little bit of reset was needed too? You know, for his team, given the hype and just the way they lost in the playoffs last year. I don't know. I feel like
man.
the piece they got back was, I mean, it's at best is a wash, you know, with Ibaka and him. I mean, yeah, the bully ball. Yeah, I agree with you saying there.
But I think they needed his, like, just straight grit and hustle. Like, what it meant, like, what Zach Randolph meant to the Grizz, bringing that attitude.
Right.
I felt like they're losing a piece of that now. Like, like I said, a lot of their moves were low key. Like getting Reggie Jackson back, like, that's a great move.
I mean, asking for a lot too here on Nick Batum, but if he's healthy, I mean, that's a nice vet there. I mean, if he's healthy, if he's healthy, that's the thing, the big if.
But when you got like a guy like Reggie Jackson who still put up buckets and Lou Williams coming off the bench, like they can put up points, and like Luke Kennard, like those guys can shoot. But I don't know, man. I feel like this is like just under like 45 win team for me.
Maybe not a bad thing. Maybe be a little underwhelming in the regular season and then blow up in the playoffs. I don't know. Maybe not a bad thing. You know. Okay, next one here. The other LA team, the Lakers, and the NBA champions. Their over-under number is 48. Of course, re-signed Anthony Davis. LeBron James signed an extension. They also added, as we just mentioned a little while ago, Montrezl Harrell. Added Marc Gasol. Markieff Morris re-signed. Wesley Matthews signed there as well, too. They also traded for Dennis Schroeder. So they had a really good offseason, really. I mean, lost Dwight Howard, lose Rajon Rondo. But other than that, I thought they had a really good offseason. And they should be, honestly, on paper, you know, their floor should be the finals. Like, if they don't win the West, that's a disappointment at this point. So I'm gonna go over on this anyway. Zack.
Oh, I'll take the over. I think the over should have been set around 57, 58 games, not 48. My God. This is probably the best team I've seen on paper since Durant joined Golden State. Like, this team is so stacked at every position, built around LeBron and AD. Like, you've got a stretch big, you have a bully big, you have nothing but defenders at every position, so that whoever's on the court on the opposing team, their top scorer gets bullied on the court. It's just unfair. And you're gonna have LeBron go, "Oh, I've won 6 rings. I've won 5 rings," and you've got a team that is so stacked now. You're not competing. It's like buying your ring. Go to the pawn shop, LeBron.
That's what I mean, but okay.
I mean, it's unfair how they reloaded this year. And then, like, that Talon Horton Tucker kid's coming out, showing out in preseason. The thing is, like, the fact that they reloaded on their vets, and even if LeBron James takes one step backwards, you have to assume a young guy like Kyle Kuzma can assume the rest of that load. Like, he takes a step back in scoring, Kyle Kuzma's going to take a step forward in scoring. Like, they still have Alex Cruz-God coming off the bench, just lighting it up.
That's your boy.
The team's just stacked. Like, over. They're the best team in the league.
No question. Although
Schroeder,
they lost Danny Green.
Such a great.
Just joking.
Yeah, but getting a guy like Schroeder to come be a
that's
playmaker off the bench.
That is sick. That should have been squashed. That trade should not have been allowed to happen.
Oh, stop.
But I think Montrezl Harrell just taking the heart and soul from the Clippers and bringing him to the Lakers, that was like just soul crushing. So yeah.
All right.
They did the perfect balance of vets, young players, and just overall talent.
Right. Okay, your boys, Kris, the Grizz himself, Memphis Grizzlies. Overall number is 30, which would probably be 34, 35 in regular year. They lost Josh Jackson. Traded for Mario Antonia. I mean, this is year two of your rookie? Not a rookie, but I'm going blank on your boy.
Ja Morant.
Ja Morant, yeah. COVID. The year of COVID. I don't know. They were exciting to watch last year. For times. I'm gonna go over. I'm going over on your boys. Kris, you go first since it's your team.
I love the success they had last year. And if Ja Morant gets any better, he looks to me what everybody wanted John Wall and Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook. Like all those super athletic, lengthy ones that came to the league and exploded all at once. He looks like what they were all supposed to be. Like, I know Russell Westbrook has MVP and triple-doubles galore, but he is what all those guys should have been. Now, granted, that was just 1 year, and he could easily just, get hurt and lose explosiveness and stuff, but the team looks fantastic. I'm going under, so I feel like they overachieved last year. I love the coach. Taylor Jenkins, fantastic. But there's something missing with the team right now. Jaren Jackson's coming off an injury, so I think that's going to hurt a lot because he's pretty much the Batman to Ja Morant, or what he needs to be the Batman. The Robin. He's a Robin to Ja Morant, and I think him coming off an injury, bigs just take so much longer. When bigs have devastating injuries, it takes a while, man. They can't get back in shape properly. It's going to be a while. Brandon Clark, awesome. Came in, destroyed as a rookie. Problem is, he's one of those dudes that are maxed out. There's a reason why he fell in the draft, because he's an older dude that kind of maxed out physically. So I just don't see as big a leap for this team going forward. Like Dylan Brooks is the same way. He dropped. He's kind of maxed out in his frame and what he can do. They have a solid team. I'm going to go under. The West is too good this year. But they're going to be on the up and up. They're going to be a fun team to watch. They're going to be good. But I just feel like they're going to regress from last year just a touch.
Zack.
Okay, so I'll help Kris out on what this team is missing. Another starting four to go alongside Ja Morant. They're missing depth off the bench so that when someone wants to have a breather, they can put someone of NBA talent level back on the court. So that's where they're hurting. Here's what will determine Memphis going forward, because this is a 100% under like one of the locks of the year that you're going to be able to bank on is the under win total for this team. If they were to break that and win 30 games, win 31 games, then it's all because of Jay Morant, and he took another colossal step forward and is basically going to try and put himself on the same level as a Luka Doncic, a guy that will score, rebound, and pass all on the same level, at the same high level.
Interesting. All right. Next team here, my Miami Heat. Of course, went to NBA Finals last year. Their over-under number is 43 and a half. No, I'm sorry, 43 even. I apologize. I'm going over on this one. They drafted Precious. How do you pronounce his last name? Achua? It's Precious Achua. Anyway, they also acquired Mo Harkless, Avery Bradley in free agency. They did lose Jay Crowder, who had a phenomenal playoff run for the team. Lost Derrick Jones Jr. But this team should be solid. Jimmy Butler, of course, had a phenomenal first year of the team. Tyler Hero, great rookie year. Duncan Robinson, undrafted rookie, played very well, especially down the stretch. I'm going to go over on this one. The Heat. Zach.
I'll take the over. Your depth alone on this team should get the over. If you're not a top 4 team going into the playoffs this year, then you didn't reach your basement as far as the team is concerned. That's all I got to say. Your team has no excitement.
The team hit on 3 studs last year with Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, and Duncan Robinson. You bring in a guy like Avery Bradley, which I think is a great move.
Yeah, I love that move.
I'm gonna go over, but that's contingent on like all 3 of those guys, like at least like taking baby steps forward still and not like stagnating. Because I think Kendrick Nunn, I feel like is the best of the 3, even though people will say Tyler Hero, because Kendrick Nunn came out the bubble and just was not the same player he was to begin the year.
Right.
He was nicked up, so it made sense. I think he comes back healthy and he just resumes his role as just a stud player. And with Coach Spo, you can't expect them to not be a top 4 team in the East.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens. The East got, like I said, it should be a lot better this year, so it'll be a little more challenging for the Heat to come back to the finals. We'll see, though. All right, next team here, the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, big news this week. Giannis Antetokounmpo signed his Supermax 2 days ago. Your thoughts, you guys? Your thoughts on that, real quick? On Giannis staying loyal, I guess, to the Bucks.
You knew who was going to be the next Dirk.
Wait, I'm sorry. Say it again.
Go ahead, Kris.
Oh, he was always going to be the next Dirk. Mm-hmm. He was going to be loyal. He's going to finish off his career there. He's going to he's going to go through his trials just like Dirk did. I think he's eventually going to just ring there. Like he understands that team took a risk on him, brought him over from Greece, developed him, allowed him to fill out his frame and become the amazing player that he is. I just feel like they're always going to make him happy and do whatever it takes to win.
Anyway, Zach, quickly, what you going to say?
Oh, I mean, if this isn't a slap in the face of LeBron James, then, I mean, I don't know what there is. He made me so proud by signing that extension. To see a guy this day and age who doesn't want to go try and join or form a super team and try and take the easy way out, I don't know what you can say other than kudos and thank God he's in the NBA and willing to do this when too many of our superstars in this sport are too weak to try and build their own team and lead their own team to a victory.
Right. Anyway, the over number is 49 wins. I'm going to go over, obviously. I think, also, honestly, too, given the not that specter of him, whether he leaves or not leaves after the years is behind him now, I think it plays a part to them being, now they can be comfortable a bit now, and they can actually, there's not a lot of pressure on the team now going forward. So I'm gonna go over the Bucks on the winning total. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna go take care of my kid real quick, but you guys keep going. Kris, you got on the Bucks 49.
So I love the Drew Holiday trade in the fact that it's going to take all the pressure off of Kris Middleton. I feel like everyone was like, Giannis is great. He's MVP. No back-to-back MVP. Why isn't Kris Middleton like stepping up? Like it's all his fault. Giannis is doing his thing. And I feel like now getting him and what they gave up for him is pretty much the reason why all the pressure's up, because they just gave up a boatload for Drew Holiday. I think that's going to take the pressure off of Kris Middleton, and he's going to be able to step up and be the same guy he is, an all-star, 25-point-per-game scorer, and Drew Holiday's going to come in, be the facilitator, and still get his and be the defensive presence they need. Like, Eric Bledsoe was too flighty. Like, he either show up or not show up. Drew Holiday's going to bring it week in and week out, game after game. And they've kind of rotated a lot of their young talent around. Like they've kind of shifted towards more guys. Now they brought in like Nick Stauskas and Bobby Portis. And I feel like those guys can come in and fill roles. They're necessary on the team. DJ Wilson, same way. Like Torrey Craig, they stole from the Nuggets. Like, granted, do I think their team is more talented than their team last year? Maybe not, but I feel like the team overall is going to perform better. And I feel like just Giannis is going to take another step forward. Like, he's just a dude that's never going to get worse. He's just going to get better and better every year until he wins it all. So I'm going over.
I'm with you on the over. I mean, it's just too low of an over. When you watch a team win over 60 games in back-to-back seasons and they put a number this low, it doesn't gel. I mean, you have to bet the over. I like Drew Holiday a lot. I think he's going to be huge as far as a defensive presence. I don't know if he's what they really needed on offense when they get into the playoffs, because during the regular season they're going to cruise no matter what. But when the game slows down in the playoffs and you can't go to the Greek Freak every moment for a score, and you need someone to shoot a three, I don't know if bringing in Drew Holiday was enough. You have to have shooters.
But I think them, like Budenholzer being there for a second year, getting a feel for a team again, and just them being comfortable with each other, him and Giannis's relationship, I just can't see them being worse. I feel like they're just going to take another step forward. They're the team to beat, even though the Heat got them last year. I just feel like they're the team to beat in the East again. Like, if you give me the best player on the court at all times, it's him. I'm always going to pick them to have a fighter's chance. And I just feel like he's the hungriest dude. I just feel like he's the hungriest guy in the league. You can't tell me there's anyone hungrier than him.
No, he probably is the hungriest guy, and he's always going to fight. But here's the thing. You're throwing him up against teams with two legit studs sometimes. When you look at, if he were to make it to the finals, like he should, you're probably going against LeBron AD. You don't have another stud to that level.
Kris Middleton is good enough.
He's good. Just like Holiday is good. But they're not good enough to take over, and they don't have a shooter where they can just keep stretching the entire defense out and just popping them from the arc. It's just not how they're built.
You'd be surprised that they have enough shooting on the team. I think Drew Holiday takes. Yeah, I feel like Drew Holiday alleviates the pressure off Middleton enough to where both of them flourish.
Drew shoots 35%. 35%.
But
who, Middleton or Drew? Talking Drew, right?
I'm talking about Drew. Drew shoots 35%.
Yes.
You look at Brooke Lopez. 30%. You don't have guys who can hit in your starting lineup.
Yeah, we gotta remember how wide open these guys are gonna be. Like,
it doesn't matter.
I know Drew's
they
used
were
to
wide
playing with
open
like
last
AD,
year. They were wide open
They-
last year, and they shot 31% and 30% and 35%. All right, they don't have shooters.
All right.
You had J.J. Redick out there. You could have brought him in. No.
All right, next team here. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves. Over-under numbers at 35 wins. No, sorry, 30 wins. Would be about 34, 35 on a normal year. They drafted Anthony Edwards with the first pick in the draft. Also traded for Ricky Rubio. I want to go over on this one because I feel like Karl-Anthony Towns ready for the next step, but I don't know, man. I'm gonna go slightly under on this one. Slightly under. Zack.
I'll take the under.
Okay.
I like Russell as a player, but he's not good enough. He's just not good enough to play along town and for that team
D'Angelo
to
Russell,
get 30.
Right? D'Angelo Russell, right?
Yeah, D'Angelo Russell.
Right.
When you look at him, he's just not good enough to help get a team in the Western Conference over 30 wins. And once you look at their backups, besides Rubio, they have nothing. This is a very poorly construed team where you're putting 30 wins on an over-under because you're basically banking on Karl-Anthony Towns being an MVP candidate. And I won't do that, so I'll take the under.
I'm with you. Kris?
So, this is one of those teams where I think they're going to surprise people, man. You're talking about bringing in you made two guys who have been, how can I say this? They weren't put in the best situation with D'Angelo Russell and Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, they're old AAU teammates. They have that rapport and relationship. I feel like now they're super happy because they got what they wanted together. They've been working out all summer. Obviously, didn't make the bubble, so they've been working together all summer. You bring in a top 5 pick last year in Jarrett Culver, who I feel like can come in and he will be a good starting caliber player. You have Anthony Edwards, who is probably the least pressured number 1 pick of all time.
That's true.
You've never heard of a number 1 pick with zero expectation. Like, no one's sitting there being like, oh, he needs to take them. He's not a franchise saver. He's coming to a team with 2 bona fide all-stars. Now, granted, both dudes are one-way players. Like, neither one of them play good defense. Like, Karl-Anthony Towns puts up blocks, but his, like, defensive plus-minus is terrible. And he just, like, as a team, he just plays no team defense. But I feel like you revitalize a team with Ryan Saunders there. Ricky Rubio is like that steady presence. They're going to keep the glue guy to keep the team together. And I feel like those 2 young wings can maturate and evolve in a healthy environment because neither one of them have any expectation on them. And then like you still have like 3-and-D guys like Malik Beasley and Josh Okogie. Like they have a solid team. Like I think they go over barely. I mean, I just think like they're one of those like fringe 500 teams that could sneak into that like barely into the 8th seed, possibly like in contention. They're not gonna make a playoff, but they'll be like in contention, hovering at 500.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if they're a playoff team. It wouldn't shock me if they go over number 2. I don't know. I'm not there. I can't pull the trigger just yet. So, but I think we're all in the same wavelength for the most part. Like to be in that 500 like area. You know. So anyway, next one, New Orleans Pelicans over under 35.5 wins. Of course, this is the year number 2 of Zion Williamson. They have also, let me see, they traded for Eric Bledsoe, Steven Adams. Nice team, actually. Of course, they traded away also Drew Holiday. I tell you, you talk about league pass teams, top 5. This is not my top 5. And Brandon Ingram, of course, resigned. He had a really great year last year. I don't know. This is I see this team going not just over, but way over. Also, they added Stan Van Gundy as head coach. Well, love. So, give me over in this one. They're at least a 6 seed in the West. Kris.
For one, they're not a league pass team. It's like the fourth most like primetime games this year because of Zion alone. They're like forcing Zion down your throat.
Yeah, this is fine.
So they're not a league. They're not like you're gonna watch them year round. The best part about this team is they're acquiring all this talent and just acquiring tons of draft picks on top of it. Like, it's insane. Like, that haul they got for Drew Holiday, for Eric Bledsoe, incredible. Like, can Lonzo Ball take the next step with Stan Van Gundy? You bring in the one caveat is I feel like the Steven Adams move, I don't like it.
Why?
I love Steven Adams as a player. I just feel like this is so I don't know if you remember back in the day, but when AD first got there, they brought in that stiff and gave him a big
Omar
contract. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're the same player because I feel like Omar Asik wasn't a terrible player.
No, he's good in
Chicago.
But
AD flourished as the stretch five, and I feel like Zion, with no minutes restrictions, by the way, they said no minutes restrictions for Zion, is going to flourish as a stretch five as opposed to a 4. Granted, they don't want him to get beat up on the defensive side, but really, I don't feel like there's any true number 5s in this league anymore. Like, who's really going to beat him up in the paint? Like,
nobody.
There's no one that plays back to the basket and is like going to abuse him in the paint to where like he's going to be like worn and torn like that. So I feel like Steven Adams is a great player. I just don't like the fit of the team. And I feel like just based on how good he flourishes at the 5, he will get phased out. And they didn't, I don't know what you do with Steven Adams at that point. It's going to be tough. But the rest of the team's fantastic. I think Brandon Ingram's a little on the overrated side. A lot of people think I think he's super overrated. I think he's the dude that, I don't know what it is. I just don't see him as a winning basketball player. I don't know what it is about his game that I don't like. He kind of seems like a ball stopper to me.
He's a scorer. That's
for
why
him to create for himself. He's like a ball stopper, but like you have guys that can score. Like all actions always goes, 1-on-1. And I don't know. I'm under. I don't think they're a 500 team, but they're going to be you're going to see them with Stan Van Gundy kind of mold the team to what he wants them to be. I just don't know if I like the fits as they are, like the roster is constructed right now.
Oh, that's harsh. Okay, Zack.
I'm with you, Ernest. I love this team, and I'm way on the over. Like, I don't even think it's close. I think they blow this over out of the water. I would easily expect a big year from Zion, a fully healthy season where he can just come in. He's gelled with Ingram and Lonzo, and you bring in JJ Redick. I just love this team. I think this is a team that looked at what was out there in the West, and they built their team to make sure they can get to the playoffs and go from there. What Kris is seeing, I just don't see it.
I can see the whole thing with the Ingram. I like the one-dimensional game. I get that. I don't know, but I like the totality. I love Stan Van Gundy. I love what they're doing there. I feel like there's a lot of pieces. Are they going to be a top 5, top 4 team in the West? No, but they're definitely a playoff team at this point with that roster.
But you need that one guy who's an offensive player first and foremost. Lonzo isn't it. Bledsoe isn't that. He's had opportunity after opportunity. He's a shooting guard who can't create his own shot. So then you get Zion, and Zion basically is an alley-oop or bully from 5 feet out, and that's it. I think he can shoot, but he doesn't take enough threes to prove it.
It's the year.
I don't like I don't like stunting Jackson Hayes' growth, bringing in Steven Adams either. Like, I don't like the move. I love Steven Adams as a player. I just don't like that move. They're dedicating too much of their salary cap to an extinct position that your best player is probably going to eventually take over, and they're gonna see that, and you're just gonna see him get phased out, and he's taking a ton of salary cap space. And then what do you do at that point?
Well, anyway, next team here, New York Knicks, over under 22.5. Really no notables. I mean, they got Austin Rivers, free agency, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and Nerlens Noel. But God, but they get all these like B, C players, and but this is New York. The Knicks is who they are, and this is why they're going to be under again, because they are the Knicks. Zach,
if you think the Cavs are bad, we should just skip it.
Yeah, I agree. So it's under in this one, easy.
No, see, okay, you wanted to skip the Cavs, but then you were all in on Detroit, thinking they're going to be better. I didn't say that. I had them under. This under is so low, you have to take the Knicks. And I personally watched Obi play last season, and I think the kid is outstanding. And I think he's going to supplant Randall as the starting power forward within the first 10 games of the season. So if you can move Randall to the bench and he become a sixth man, I think that's great.
Obi Toppin is literally.
Give me 24 wins on the season.
Wow.
He's literally the only reason to watch the team.
Interesting.
The only reason to watch the team is Obi Toppin. I think he does have that star power. He plays that game. He's similar to Amari, like a young Amari Stoudemire, pick and roll. He does have a jump shot, but the way he rolls to the basket so hard, it's just, with that much force, he's gonna be a fun player to watch. That team is just so bad. They're just terrible.
And the worst part, not only are they bad, they're not even interesting.
Their team. But you know what the thing is? Their team is full of like these top 10 draft picks, and who knows? Maybe like RJ Barrett clicks, and all of a sudden MKG comes out of nowhere and just he clicks, and then like Nerlens Noel somehow clicks, and like Kevin Knox, who I feel like he got beat up unfairly and he's going to turn around his career. But like all these top 10 picks, like Dennis Smith Jr., something just clicks in his head. All of a sudden they just all explode and like, no, it's not going to happen. They're going to be fucking terrible. They're not going to win shit. Like it's going to be an awful team. But they do have one exciting draft pick in Obi Toppin. Like he's going to be a great player to watch.
Well, I'll be watching him. All right, next one here. Oklahoma City Thunder last year overachieved with Chris Paul, who's now gone to Phoenix. Right now, the over-under number is 24 wins. They traded for Al Horford, Trevor Ariza. So look at the roster of interesting name here. George Hill. Nothing really splashy here. They lost, as I said, Chris Paul, lost Dennis Schroeder, Steven Adams, all that. And Dylan Gallinari lost in free agency, of course. Back to drawing board for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm going under in this one. This is really easy. Zach?
What was the total?
24.
I forgot.
24. How
much?
24.
24?
Yep.
I'm going to stretch it to 23.5 and take the under. No. This team is literally trying to lose.
Yeah.
You can never take the over when a team is trying to lose every game possible.
I think the thing you have to realize is they lost Billy Donovan as well. Don't forget that.
That's right. That was Billy Donovan too. That's right. You going under to
it's just super under. I don't even know why we're talking about this team.
I agree.
SGA is the only reason why I watch this team.
He's
just going to continue. He's going to continue to put up big ball and numbers, especially when he's literally the only option. They're they're going to be good. Like, they have some vets. Like, George Hill's a great vet. Trevor Reeves is going to bring some leadership. Al Horford's probably going to have a great year now that he's out of that fucking toxic environment in Philly. But the team's just so,
it's so
like,
bad,
so untalented. But they have $8 million first-round draft picks in the next, like, 6 years. So they're going to continue to, like, rotate and become – all they're going to do is continue to grab these, like, bad contracts and develop all these draft picks until they hit on all these draft picks, and then they're set. So
yeah, they got draft picks that can last through a second Joe Biden term. That's what we get, a second Joe Biden term.
The only draft picks they're going to hit on, though, out of the, like, 16 that they have, are theirs when they're drafting first, second, or third. Because every other team they traded with, what? You think they're always going to hit with the 20th or better pick? No, it's not going to happen. Eventually, all that luck runs out, and it ran out when their GMs left town.
Well, we're still on the Thunder, so let's get off the Thunder now. Okay, next team here is Zack's Orlando Magic. Their over-under number is 31.5. I'll take the under in this one. East got better. The East got better.
Yeah, and so did the Magic.
Okay, prove it to me. What you got?
Have you ever heard of getting better through the process of elimination? Because that's what we did.
You gotta show me something, buddy.
Hey, as soon as we get rid of Mo Bamba, then you know what? We're going to have an awesome roster because we won't have 3 freaking waste of spaces on the bench that play center.
He'll his own song named after him, bro.
The under is too low for the Magic. You have to take the over. Nikolai is just too good.
I don't know. The East got a little better, so that's why I went.
I don't know how you don't take the over here. Like, they're at least, like, just under 500. Like, absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay.
And just imagine, like, if Cole Anthony is as hyped as he was coming out of college. Like, he got hurt, obviously, and just wasn't the same player as he started off as. But, boy, with his bloodline, I can't see him busting. I think he's going to be a great spark for the team.
Yes. That guy is one of the steals of the draft.
Honest to God, I have faith in Markelle Fultz still. I still think he's going to turn his career around, ascend to what he was supposed to be. It might take him longer than usual for number 1 overall draft pick. And a dude that forgot how to, like, shoot and play the game. But, man, I just don't see how you don't think this team's going to be that, like, they're going to be good enough, man. Like, if Aaron Gordon just continues to play the way he is, by the way, I met him, super nice guy. I just don't see how their wings are all solid. You know, you add Al-Farouq Aminu for, like, a nice vet 3-and-D guy off the bench. But, you know, like, they have a team.
Because he thinks Charlotte and Detroit are going to be good.
This is the team that's going to scoop up more wins that, like, teams like Indy are going to start, like, the wins that Indy should have had. Like, they're going to go to teams like Orlando.
All
Give me
right.
Orlando.
Okay.
Pretty close to 500.
So you both went over. Okay.
Yes.
We'll see. We'll keep an eye on that this year. All right. Next team here. Got 8 more to go. The Philadelphia 76ers over-under is 43 wins. I feel like Vegas playing it safe on this one because they had a decent free agency. They they traded for Danny Green. They traded for Seth Curry. They added Dwight Howard in free agency, who was still pretty productive. I know they lost Al Horford. You mentioned earlier. You lost Josh Richardson. I don't know. And of course, they're also in talks, in the trade rumors for James Harden. So this could definitely, be, go here or there. I'm going to go over, obviously, on this one. I don't know. I feel like maybe after last year, they can reset, Simmons and Embiid. Although I think that combo is not long for this world. I think give it another 2 years before one of those guys are out of there. But in the meantime, I'm going over on the Sixers this year. Zach, where are you on the Sixers this year? I know you were the one that was correct on them when me and Kris had them being number 1, number 2 seed in the East last year, and you were correct on that they were going to regress, which they did. Where are you at this year on Philly?
Well, I mean, it makes it easy when I can see what's happening in the 20 teens and you guys are still living in the 80s and 90s. But I love Philly this year. With all the shooting they added and a new coach, oh, please give me the over. If there's one team in the Eastern Conference that will compete with Milwaukee for the best record, it will be Philly this season. This team is loaded, and if they are smart, they don't trade for Harden.
I don't see the fit either. I don't know why.
Completely agree.
Real quick. The Harden thing. I don't even see the fit. I don't see the fit.
No, I don't get it either because he's so ball dominant that it doesn't work. It doesn't play out for Embiid if you keep Embiid, and it doesn't work if you keep Simmons because Simmons is useless as a shooter.
Go ahead, Kris.
I love the way they constructed their team. Like, they got rid of all these, like, playmaker dudes that all, like, kind of copied each other, and they just added a bunch of role players. Like, Steph Curry knows what he got to do. He don't need to create. All he's got to do is shoot. Danny Green, all he's got to do is shoot. But they still, you hit with Matisse Thybulle last year as, like, a great defensive spark, and you bring a guy like Terrence Ferguson, another straight defensive player. But Danny Green's older, so I'm not going to call him like a great defensive player anymore. But they surrounded the team, and don't forget how Tyrese Maxey got to them. But he's going to be an exciting rookie who balled out last year in Kentucky. I think he's going to be a great spark off the bench too. On top of it, and I just feel like their team, Shake Milton, played fantastic last year in spurts when he got his opportunities. We still got guys like Mike Scott just sit there and be a great role player. Ben Simmons is going to be allowed to really, and don't forget, it's just not Doc Rivers coming in as coach. His main assistant, Dave Yeager, former head coach, he's great. Sam Cassell, former player, fantastic. The whole coaching staff is great there. And I feel like as long as they don't explode, implode this roster for Harden, I see this team doing really good.
So the Doc Rivers reset. So I've been down Doc the last couple of years. Is this a good spot for him to turn it around?
Yes.
Zach?
It has nothing to do with whether or not Doc Rivers is an overrated or underrated head coach. He's a better coach than Brent Brown. And that's all you have to decide. If you're looking at it as an organizational choice, they got rid of creators and brought in shooters to build around their two stars. I mean, it shouldn't have been hard, but apparently it took 2 years to figure that out. And then you look at the head coaching, and coaching does matter. And while Brent Brown had to suffer with losing, he couldn't coach the team up to win either. And you have to move on. And I think just the head coaching change gives them a 2 to 3 win improvement.
Wow.
But see, for me, I still have them under.
Really?
I still think they're solidified. I just feel like because of how many moves they made on the roster with this like super short like off season, they're not gonna have the time to gel enough for them to. They're not cracking the top. Like if you're taking the over here, you're expecting to be like top 4 in the East. I don't see that. I think they're gonna stay at 5 or 6. So I think
number 2.
No, I feel like with Brooklyn, Boston, Miami, and Milwaukee, you're entrenched with those top 4 teams right there. So I see Philly being at like the solid number 5 team, but that's like at best. I don't think they can crack the top 4 in the East.
Well, we'll see. That's a good point. Maybe to be another one of those dangerous middle of the pack playoff teams. So they have a kind of a melancholy regular season, then the playoff comes around, they become very dangerous. Maybe we'll see. All right.
I just feel like chemistry more so is going to mean more.
What was that? Say again.
Conference finals.
Say one time, Zach?
Or they can be the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference and go all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right. That's true. Definitely a big
I could
swing.
see them doing good in the playoffs. I just can't see them having as much regular season success because of, by the time the playoffs come, they could be a whole different team because of the way they gel. But I just don't see it translating right away.
All right, next one here. Phoenix Suns, over-under 38 wins. They added Chris Paul to the team. Let me see real quick. Did I skip somebody? No, I didn't skip somebody. I'm sorry. It was Phoenix Suns. Sorry about that. Okay. Added Chris Paul to the team. They also added Jay Crowder in free agency. Re-signed Dario Saric. They did trade away Ricky Rubio, as you mentioned earlier, Kelly Oubre, all that. This team, again, a lot of people are high on the Suns this year. Chris Paul, obviously, wherever he goes, works his magic. Any team he goes to, they're competitive. OKC was the latest team that benefited from Chris Paul for a year. And a lot of folks are big on the Suns. This is the next tier of teams to come up. I am going to go. Hold on, I had it marked down here a second. I think it was over. I think had here. Did I? Yeah, over 38 wins. Real quick before you go to your to give your prediction. You and I had a little dispute a couple days ago about Devin Booker of the Suns.
I wanted to talk about that.
Yes, so go ahead and set the table for that, buddy. Go ahead, Zach.
So, Kris, would you consider 35% shooting from behind the arc to be good, great, or amazing? Or would you just
depends on how
average?
Depends if you're a main ball handler, creator or not. Because if you're a creator, that's a good 3-point shooter. If you're just a catch and shoot guy like a Kyle Korver type, then it's not. But if you're a creator type, then it's a good shooting percentage.
Do you think Devin Booker's overrated?
Hell no, he's fantastic. He's going to explode this year. He might lead the league in scoring this year. Without the responsibility of handling the ball as much, he's going to light it up. Dude's seen the most double teams for the past 2 seasons. The most double teams in the league.
What was that, Chris? Zach, what was that?
Ernest. So we had this discussion about 35% as a creator, but now Kris is talking about, you know why Devin Booker's going to be good? Because the ball won't be in his hands. So if the ball's not going to be in his hands as a creator and he's going to be more of a shooter, 35%? Really? 35% is good? I don't even...
It's going to go up. Of course it's going to go up.
Why?
The most double teams in the league for 2 years straight. The most.
Lopez, a 7-footer is about to shoot better threes than him.
At what volume, though? That's what we
Yeah, well, Brook Lopez also shoots corner threes and he's uncovered. You can't compare a dude that's had the ball in his hand to create the only offensively talented player on the team for the most part. Like, come on, man.
Devin Booker's not even a top 40 player.
Oh, stop.
He's not a 3-point champ?
No, not top 40 player, he said. He's not even top 40. I disagree with that 100%. But, Zach, what do you got on the Suns, over under?
Oh, wait, for one second. Do you think you have to be a good shooter to win a 3-point contest?
Oh, I believe...
You do know that Devin Booker broke the all-time record in a single round, which he did in the final round of the 3-point contest. Talking about that guy's a bad shooter.
Why is he shooting 35%?
Because he has to do so much, Zach. Because he has to do so much.
Steph Curry shoots 43%.
He has more help. He has Clay stretch the floor. He has Durant.
So much more help. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God.
Anyway, Zach, where you at on the over-under of the Suns? That's, let's say, 38? I went over. Where'd you go?
Yeah. I'll take 28.
Whoa.
Yes.
You sound
Overrated. Give me the under.
Okay. Kris, Suns, what you got?
I'm not going to predict DeAndre Ayton's going to just take over the league because he has Chris Paul there, but he's going to be better. Devin Booker is going to be he's probably going to lead the league in scoring. I would not be shocked if he did.
No, you know who's going to be better? DeAndre Ayton. That dude's going to be a 25 to 30 point a game night now.
See, everyone thinks that. I think he does take a step forward, but I don't think he's going to explode. Everyone thinks that DeAndre Ayton's going to take over the league. I don't see that. But
he's
rebounded back from his.
He's
good.
The game is going to take a step forward. That's 23 to 25 points a game. Devin Booker can't lead the league if he takes a step forward.
Yeah, he can.
All right.
You're talking about a team that plays any defense, but no, they're gonna go just barely over. I feel like you're gonna see like the cream of the crop really rise in the West, and you're gonna see a lot of teams kind of muddled in that mix. And I think they're actually one of those teams that are gonna be very competitive and be muddled in the mix in the West. So I love them. I think Sarge plays better now that he has a good, they have their teams that play so much better. And Mikal Bridges, a top 10 pick, is going to take another step forward by having more chances to get the ball in his hands and create because Kelly Oubre is gone. And he has a guy like Jay Crowder to follow and really take the next step. Give me the over.
Right, okay. All right, next team here, Portland Trailblazers, over under number is 40.5. 40.5, not 48.5. 40.5. Normally your that'll be about 43, 44. I'm going to go under in this one, slightly under. I think it'd be a 40-win team. I don't know. I mean, they lost Hassan Whiteside, was whatever. Also lost Trevor Ariza. They did trade for Robert Covington, Enes Kanter, which is decent. They also got Derrick Jones Jr. from the Heat. I don't know. I think we one of those bottom 3 playoff teams in the West. Again, the West is stacked, as you said. So I'll go under slightly. Zach.
I'll take the over. You couldn't tell by how hungry that team was once they were healthy. If they can line up, and I think that's why it was so important to trade or bring in Enes Kanter, they have to have a big man in the middle. Well, if they can have that rebounding from the middle, the guards on the outside, they can just stay behind the arc all night long, and that's what they do. So I'm a believer in shooting, and I'll take Portland. Give me Portland.
A guy that used to play there too. Enes Kanter used to play there, so he has the rapport already. He's been there. I'm over as well, barely. I think they're going to be the cream of the crop of the second tier in the West. It's going to be them, because I feel like the Lakers and Nuggets are a class of their own in the West.
Right.
They are so far ahead of everybody else. Huh?
I think you can still throw the Clippers into the top 3.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But
yeah, I guess. I guess they're the bottom of that top tier. I guess the established bottom of the top tier. But I think Portland brings up the next rung of the West. And they have enough depth there. The big move was bringing Robert Covington. He's such a good player for that team. They needed that we're talking about elite 3-and-D guys. He is probably the quintessential, the prototype, the guy you'd want is Robert Covington.
I can see him,
and you kind of bring it.
I can see him doing the same thing as last year, starting slow and then heating up late, and then being that dangerous playoff team in the playoffs. Come April. I can see.
But you bring in a young, talented guy like Harry Giles. If he pans out, great. Derrick Jones coming in, great role player. You bring back Rodney Hood, okay, he can score. They have enough guys on the team that can do what they need. They're just established just that tier down where they can be beat any night by any team. They could lose to Charlotte,
right?
But on any given day, they could be the best team in the league. So give me the over barely.
Okay, 5 teams to go quickly. Let's go through this real quick. Sacramento Kings over under 27.5. I'm going under in this one. Zach.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't really see enough talent. I think they have like that B quality starter talent, but no one that can really get them anywhere. And I also don't believe they have any real leadership on that team. So I'll certainly take the under for the season.
Kris?
Oh, this is like Luke Walton's last stop. Like, if he can't get it done here, I don't think he gets another chance, like, as a head coach, like, maybe for a very long time.
Agreed.
And you have Alvin Gentry there to kind of balance him out. But, man, I don't know what it is about this team. Like, you bring back Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah.
Jabari Parker's there. Like, Corey Joseph's a great player.
Mm-hmm.
You have Frank the Tank Kaminsky. I don't know. Like, they're like one of those teams where, like, you never know. Maybe all their talent just blossoms. And, like, Harrison Barnes, like a dude that kind of, like, he's an underachieving type of dude, like, lottery pick that maybe can bring that perspective to the team and light a fire under them. DeAndre Fox has got paid massively. Marvin Bagley, who knows? Like, he got picked before Luka and Trae Young. Like, is he that dude? Who knows? Like, he was supposed to be like a larger lefty, like, pretty much like bigger Michael Beasley, but he hasn't really turned out that way.
Right.
Like, I feel like they hit a steal in the draft with Tyrese Halliburton. I think it's going to cause issues because he's going to play so good that I don't know what they're going to do with Buddy Hield. And he's already been disgruntled over the years. I just don't see, like, I don't know. It's under, but there's something about this team that just, there's something going to go wrong.
I think Sacramento is praying that Halliburton can replace Buddy Hield. That was a terrible contract that they gave him.
Yeah.
Buddy Hield never lived up to his hype when he came out of college, and they've been just paying it forward. And if they can get his replacement, that'll be a step in the right direction, really, for this franchise.
Right. All right, 4 teams to go. Let's do this quickly. The San Antonio Spurs over-under of 31. Man, last time you've seen the Spurs this low in over-unders. It's crazy. And unfortunately, they're going to stay there. I'm going to go under. I mean, they still got DeMar DeRozan. You still got Marcus Aldridge, but both guys are 1 year older. The West is still really solid. I don't know. The San Antonio, the glory days are over, are long gone now. They're starting to rebuild. I can see definitely both these guys being trade bait for contenders this year. So, we need under on the Spurs. Zach.
I'm just thankful that they didn't make the over-under 36. Going so low as like 31.5, it makes me feel safe in taking the over because I believe Greg Popovich is such a great coach that he can, with enough talent, get 31.5 wins. So it's more of just that faith in the head coach and looking at the talent to go, if everyone can just stay healthy, then they may not finish 500, but I think they can get 32, 33 wins. And that's what I'm going to go for. So I'll take the over.
Kris?
Under. They're a 31 team, barely. There's nothing to look forward to. You're literally only giving them 30 wins because Popovich is there. That's it. And I think there's enough rumors that DeMar DeRozan is going to get traded that they're going to make a move to get some younger talent to infuse that team because they're starving.
I agree.
I'm under.
Okay. All right, Toronto Raptors over under 41 wins. Let's see here. They acquired Alex Len. They acquired Aaron Baines. Lost Serge Ibaka, of course. Lost Marc Gasol. They'll take a step back a little bit. I still think, they're still a great coach. Still got, Siakam, a couple of good pieces there. They signed Van Vliet. They'll still be a solid team. They're no longer. I no longer consider them a championship contender anymore, but they're definitely a playoff team in the Eastern Conference. Probably a 5 or 6 seed, maybe lower. That being said, I think. Hold on, let's do it quick. I went under on 41. Just slightly under 41. Zach.
So this is where I'm with you, where the depth of the East got better over free agency. And so I'll take the under. And it's more of this view that once a team is peaked in the NBA, and they certainly peaked, and it was with a guy they lost to free agency, that there's a slow trickle down in losses. And this year is going to be that year where they can't truly compete. They'll compete for a 7th, 8th seed in the conference, but they're not going to be a top 5 or 6 seed. Certainly, it's just too deep in the Eastern Conference. So I'll take the under.
Kris?
I'm going to go barely under. Barely. Like 39, 40 wins. He has to be top 4 coach in the league. Like, what he did with that team last year, unreal. The only hesitation I have for not putting them over is I had big expectations for Spicy P last year, and he did not do it. So maybe if he takes the next step like he should have, then yes, they're over, and they're probably surpassing Philly for number 5, maybe competing at number 4. Who knows? Like, Nick Nurse is a magician. Like, he can bring in anybody. If OG takes another step, like he took another step last year, takes another step, Chris Boucher, like, Spicy P, Van Vliet has shown what he can do. Obviously, Kyle Lowry's will take a step down because now he's getting to the twilight of his career.
Mm-hmm.
But Malachi Flynn, their draft pick, looks great. If he can resurrect a guy like Henry Ellison's career, who was super hyped coming out of high school, his career put together, and, Norm Powell's solid, Patrick McCall solid, they could easily be right there towards, like, the top of the middle of the pack in the East, obviously. But I see him at, like, solid 6th seed in the East, just under 41 wins.
All right, 2 more to go. The Utah Jazz, over under 43 wins. I went under this one just slightly. Again, same situation with the West, just really solid, and a lot of teams on the bottom making a come up. So, are they a playoff team? Yes. Probably a 5-6 seed, but, So I got under in the Jazz. Zach?
I got to side with you on the under. And it's my belief that Donovan Mitchell's a little bit overrated. I think sometimes you get placed on a team when you're drafted that the only thing they're missing is someone willing to take a shot, and that's what happened with him. He got put on a team where no other guy wanted to be the man who took a shot. And so now that's what he is. And he's not that guy. He's not a good enough of a scorer and talented enough of a leader to take a team to the upper echelons of the Western Conference right now. And I think Connolly is so far gone now. He's going to start to look like Derek Fisher did at the very end on the basketball court. And I know that probably hurts Chris's feelings for having played at Memphis for so long. But, I mean, let's be real. He has gone downhill for like 4 straight years when he could even step on the court.
Are you kidding me? I hated him. That contract they gave him was absurd.
He was so mad. I remember that.
So Donovan Mitchell is not underrated. I mean, overrated. He's probably still underrated. He's that good. Donovan Mitchell is that guy. I think Mike Conley actually bounces back and doesn't have like a terrible season.
It's poor man Dwayne Wade.
I don't think it's poor man Dwayne Wade. I think he is Dwayne Wade. I'm going to go slightly under. So they're just in that group. It's going to be like Portland, Dallas, Utah, Golden State, all in this jumbled up mix. I think Phoenix right there, this jumbled up mess in the West where it's like everyone under the Clippers, Lakers, and Nuggets are all going to be stacked together. But I think Utah is slightly less than those guys. I think they still have that weird lingering, like, Rudy Gobert, like everyone kind of hates him type deal going on right now. I think it's still there. And who knows what he's going to do with his contract.
Well, he turned down the offer today.
So there's a lot of this like weird tension on this team, which I think is going to hurt him just enough. So they're going to just crank down a couple spots down for me.
All right.
They can easily win like 41. They can easily get 40 wins, but they're not hitting 43.
Right. All right. Final team here. The Washington Wizards. Over-under number is 33.5. Of course, they traded for Russell Westbrook. What else I got here? They got Robin Lopez in free agency. They losing any notable players other than John Wall. I don't know. I kind of like this team. I kind of like the Westbrook-Beal backcourt. I don't know why. Obviously not a contender, but if you told me, assuming all things equal, this team's healthy, are they a 7 to 8 seed in the Eastern Conference? Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So that being said, I am going over. Zach.
Oh, I'll take the over. I think this is like the perfect placement for a guy like Russell Westbrook. He's going to be stat hungry. Early in every game, he's going to want to pass, so he gets his assist up. And with the amount of shooters that he has surrounded by him, when he drives to the hole and can kick out, it sets up perfectly to build up big leads that they hang on and hold on to all season and make it into the playoffs. So
over as well.
Westbrook could get, you got to take the over, and I think Westbrook has to thank his lucky stars that he got traded to a team like this, where it fits up perfectly for what they had.
Kris?
I think they're that team that like is under 500, like 34, 35 wins, and then sneaks into the playoffs. They almost did it last year. Davis Bertans, now they paid him, and he sat out in the bubble because he wanted to get paid because he's been hurt every year. And let's see if he can live up to the contract. Like he could be the guy who like unlocks that team, because when you have such an aggressive player like Westbrook and Beal who can get to the basket, and you have a big that was shooting over 40% from three last year, who could easily just unclog the paint for those guys, like that could be huge. They could be a team that they're going to score a ton of points. They're going to give up a ton of points too. I don't see them being any different from the team they were last year, but having Westbrook on the floor as opposed to not having John Wall at all, they're going to sneak it in. They're going to make stuff. Now, the key to the team is if Hachimura can take the next step, and because he doesn't have to be a playmaker and these guys are going to get wide open baskets, he just has to be a finisher, you never know, man. Like, this team could easily creep up to that 7-6 spot. I wouldn't be shocked.
No, neither. I mean,
and like a first round guy like Mo Wagner can actually like fill out his potential. Dudes change when you don't have to do shit. Like when guys are going to do everything for you, like all of a sudden your life is so much easier. You can start finishing and go back to the job that you were supposed to do.
No, I can see that.
And SC Butley, the Euro guy they drafted, he was supposed to be like the steal of the draft. Mm-hmm. He comes in and balls out Luka style. Cool, then sky's the limit for his team. Like, if he's as good as, they were boxing him top 2, top 3 guy. So it was a boom for him from the fall to the Wizards. If he comes in and impacts the game as like not, obviously Luka's like the best case scenario, but if he's anywhere, even remotely in that range, well, this team can be sneaky.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. This team was one of those like underlying they're not a championship team, but they can definitely be a tough out for a top contender.
Scott Brooks is that guy that's gonna, he has that experience with Westbrook. He coached Westbrook his first few years in the league.
Correct. Without question.
Yeah, and if anyone knows how to control Westbrook, you saw it in the first 3 years where you had Harden and Durant on the team, and he was willing to defer at times.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, fellas, we did it. Real quick before we get going, what's your finals prediction? Kris, I think I heard yours already. I think I heard yours earlier.
For me, it would be the Lakers versus any team from the Atlantic Division.
Suck it up.
Look at that division. That's not even fair to the Knicks right now. They shouldn't even be forced to play in that division. But whoever comes out of the East comes out of the Atlantic Division, in my opinion.
Okay.
I don't want to be like that chalk dude, but I'm going the Lakers Bucks. Like, you're not going to change my mind.
Yeah,
I just
the same
think.
Thing. Yeah.
I think Giannis. This is just like the next step for Giannis, where like each year he gets closer and closer to the chip. This is the year he finally gets there, and then like he gets smoked in the fucking finals, like absolutely steamrolled by the Lakers. But it just fuels him even more,
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I would make a case for Philly, but I don't know where they're at. I can make a case for Miami, but I don't know where. I mean, they probably won't get there.
Not
I don't know, man. I think Milwaukee, adding Drew Holiday, and now they got this thing off their back. Giannis is committed for at least 4 years. Because remember, the 5th year is a player option.
Giannis isn't committed. Come on now. That contract could be traded tomorrow.
No, what I'm saying though, but he's a top tier player. So
oh
the
yeah,
he's committed
absolutely.
Now, right? I think that actually helps now. That pressure's gone now. Now you can focus, and the team got better on top of that too. It wasn't a stopgap move. This is a team. This is a team that could at least go to the conference finals. I don't think they're inferior to any other Eastern Conference team there as well either. So yeah, why not Lakers or Bucks? I hate to be the chalk guy too, but that's what the stars are telling me. Lakers Bucks.
So my question to you two guys is, who are the Lakers playing in the Western Conference Finals?
Clippers. I think Clippers bounce back.
No, I think the Nuggets stay there. I think the Nuggets are that good.
Clippers,
yes.
And I think the Clippers. Look, I would put the Clippers to win the West, but I'm at a point now with this team now. I'm done trying to pick them every year, and then they don't get to the finals. So they got to show me something before I do it. So I'm done. But if you ask me who would be other than the Lakers, it'd be the Clippers.
Yeah, if all teams were to be healthy, my hatred of LeBron would tell me that the Nuggets would win Game 7. But my mind tells me that the Lakers will win Game 7 against the Nuggets.
I don't know. We shall see. But, fellas, it was fun. Another 2-hour session with you guys.
Man, there's 30 teams. Don't blame us.
I know. No, it's good. No.
Or 30
No, it wasn't 2.5. I was trying to get to as close to 2 hours as possible. So, we did it. So, for Zach, Kris, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Cool.
All right, guys. Take care. All
See
right?
you later.
You got it, brother. Take care. Later.